As a comedian, I think it should be cool to make jokes. I guess that's how I feel. You said,
is that a funny joke?
It's an award show fair. They're out, they're usually
really
not like
calling the first
best
lady a
and
hooker.
brightest.
Comedian Trey Crowder absolutely shut down Piers Morgan with some brutal truth bombs. And it's honestly one of the most satisfying things you'll see today.
Conservatives, they do tend to be very thin-skinned. They are very easily offended. They don't take jokes very well. You kind of have to walk on eggshells around them.
Piers, as usual, tried to dominate the conversation with his usual smug attitude. But Trey wasn't having any of it. Instead of backing down, he fired back with sharp, well-researched facts that left Piers scrambling for a comeback.
She called her a prostitute. Maybe that's not really fair. Maybe like gold digger probably would have been better.
The best part, Trey doesn't just call him out, he does it with the perfect mix of humor and logic, making Piers look even more ridiculous.
You can make fun of the Republican one. It's fine. People either laugh or they won't. If she's in front of a Hollywood crowd, they're liberals, they laugh. If she does it in front of another crowd, they're not going to. People at home don't have to like it. They could get mad. But, like I said, I believe in the First Amendment. I believe in free speech.
You can practically see the moment Piers realizes he's losing control of the conversation. But of course, he still tries to act like he's got the upper hand. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. So what was it all about? Let's dive right in. It all started when comedian Trey Crowder appeared on Piers Morgan's show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, for a panel discussion. He was joined by former advisor to Kamala Harris Mike Nellis, as well as right-wing commentators Mercedes Schlapp and Sage Steele. The debate took an interesting turn when Piers Morgan himself became visibly upset over a joke, prompting a discussion about what should and shouldn't be considered fair game in comedy.
It was a huge year for biopics, a complete unknown about Bob Dylan, Maria Callas.
The whole thing kicked off when Morgan played a clip of Chelsea Handler at an award show where she made a joke about Melania Trump. In her speech, Handler referenced a film titled Amora and compared it to Melania, implying that she had a past that some might associate with certain stereotypes.
And Honora about Melania Trump.
The audience erupted in laughter, but Morgan was clearly unimpressed.
I mean, she basically called Melania Trump a prostitute. That's what Honora's about.
He expressed outrage, arguing that the joke was essentially calling Melania Trump a prostitute, and that this kind of humor would never be tolerated if it were aimed at a Democrat First Lady like Michelle Obama.
How do you feel about somebody doing that in public and a crowd of liberals all just roaring with laughter?
Trey Crowder, being a comedian himself, wasn't buying it.
As a comedian, I think it should be cool to make jokes. I guess that's how I feel. You said,
is that a funny joke?
Brigade, award show fair. They're out, they're usually
really
not like
calling the first
best
lady a
and
hooker.
brightest.
When did people do that to a Democrat first lady?
He pointed out that conservatives are often extremely sensitive to jokes, despite frequently claiming to champion free speech. He argued that as a comedian, he knows firsthand that conservatives tend to be thin-skinned and easily offended, whereas they often expect others to just take a joke when the tables are turned.
Yeah, they said the stuff that people said about Michelle Obama and everything over, but what
Crowder called out this double standard, saying that conservatives love to portray themselves as the tough crowd that mocks liberal snowflakes, yet they crumble the moment a joke is directed at them.
No, I know it's true, because as a comedian, I know, and I think most comedians would agree, it's like conservatives, they do tend to be very thin-skinned, walk on eggshells around them because you will offend their delicate sensibilities. That's tough for me because I'm a big free speech guy.
Morgan and Sage Steele doubled down, insisting that nothing like the Melania joke had ever been said about Michelle Obama. They framed it as an unfair attack on Melania, arguing that such a remark would have caused an uproar if it had been made about a Democratic First Lady.
But I feel like when people say, they don't just say gold digger usually. There's some other word that comes out. They say gold digging, what is it? I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue.
But Crowder wasn't about to let that slide. He reminded them that right-wing figures have spent years making horrible, baseless comments about Michelle Obama. He specifically brought up the long-standing conspiracy theory pushed by many conservatives who absurdly claim without any evidence that Michelle Obama is actually a man.
You guys are, I thought y'all are the you can't joke about anything anymore crowd, right?
I gotta be honest with you, you can joke about what you like, and yes, people trolled Michelle Obama and so on. I don't remember any famous comedian doing it on stage at an award show calling Michelle Obama a prostitute.
So when Morgan and Steele acted shocked at the mere suggestion of making jokes about Michelle Obama, it showed their double standards. As Crowder pointed out, right-wing figures have been doing exactly that for ages. The difference, he argued, is that when the joke is about a conservative figure like Melania, it suddenly becomes an unacceptable attack, whereas when it's about a Democrat, it's all in good fun.
Or any other Democrat wife, for that matter, ever. Democrat First Lady. And so I'm afraid it seems to me... it seems to me there is a double standard here.
Morgan, however, was determined to frame this as a unique case of liberal hypocrisy. He claimed that while Hillary Clinton and other Democratic figures had been criticized over the years, no one had ever gone as far as directly calling a Democratic First Lady a prostitute on stage at an award show. Crowder pushed back again, saying that conservatives have long made outrageous accusations about people like Hillary Clinton, even going so far as to accuse her of murder.
Your countryman Ricky Gervais very famously went in on the woke Hollywood elite and all that, countless times to their face.
Crowder made it clear that in his view, comedy should always have the freedom to punch up at powerful figures. He acknowledged that Handler's joke was harsh, but he also pointed out that political figures and their families are always going to be subject to public scrutiny and satire. That, in his opinion, is simply part of the deal.
I'm saying specifically calling the First Lady of the United States a hooker. That's what I'm talking about.
If you're going to define it that narrowly, no, I can't find an analogy to that.
Morgan, however, was still fixated on the idea that jokes about Melania crossed a line. He insisted that while criticism of politicians is fair, making a direct and crude joke about the former First Lady was beyond the pale.
But that's okay.
Because it's okay if you're a Democrat. Yeah. If you're a Democrat, it seems to me that's fine. It's fine to do it about a Republican First Lady. No one has ever done that from the right or left about a Democrat First Lady.
But Crowder had one final point to make. He reminded Morgan and the panel that the same people who were crying foul over the Melania joke were often the ones claiming that you can't joke about anything anymore. He found it ironic that the same conservatives who constantly complain about woke cancel culture were suddenly the ones arguing that certain jokes should be off limits.
I just think you should be able to joke about anything as a comedian. That's all I'm saying. I think it's ridiculous to draw the line there. These people are in power. You can make fun of a Democrat First Lady if you want to. You can make fun of the Republican one. It's fine.
Morgan, clearly flustered, attempted to regain control of the conversation by saying that he wasn't against free speech, just against hypocrisy.
But, like I said, I believe in the First Amendment. I believe in free speech. You should be able to say these things.
While Morgan and Steele believed the Melania joke was an unacceptable personal attack, Crowder saw it as just another example of how conservatives conveniently shift their stance on free speech whenever it suits them. His argument was simple. If conservatives want to dish it out, they should be able to take it too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.